Greetings from Sri Sathya Sai Vidyavahini, Prashanti Nilayam, Sri Sathya Sai District, Andhra Pradesh. All of you had received an infographic, a refresher on Bloom's taxonomy. That was followed by a short quiz on Bloom's taxonomy. We have been analyzing the results of that quiz, and it has given us some very useful insights. We have realized that some of the teachers seem to have some confusion when it comes to the apply, analyze, and evaluate level. Another problem we came to know is when a question is posed, many teachers are unable to accurately identify the level of Bloom's taxonomy that question pertains to. Keeping these two specific problems in mind, we have planned this session. In this session, we have our expert answering and clarifying teachers' questions. We will be sharing teachers' questions and we will be getting expert clarification on this. So let us begin. The first question: the strong beak of a woodpecker acts as a chisel, strainer, straw, spade.
Thank you for the question, sister. See, this question very clearly takes the factual knowledge into account when it is being asked by the teacher. Imagine the teacher is asking this particular question in a particular grade. He or she would have already taught what a chisel is, what a strainer is, what a straw is, what a spade is in the classroom in which they are asking this particular question. Now, what she is trying to do is to make the students recall and answer the question. Remember here, this does not involve any high order thinking skills at all. It is the response that is expected is very objective in this particular case, which means the teacher needs to give the knowledge part in her teaching learning process inside the classroom, and there is no deeper cognitive skills that are required here. The child should be able to tell that this is going to work like this. So everything here is based on the recall factor. Of course, we are actually going to use this at a later stage at a complex level. But in this question, what is being asked or what it is aligned to is, remember, level 1 of Bloom's taxonomy.
Would you like to hear the other question also, sister?
That would be good, sister. You give me the other question.
The other question is write a fraction to represent the shaded figure. The options are A is 1 by 2, B is 2 by 3, C 2 by 5, and D is 1 by 6.
Wonderful, sister. Now, this is a question that is based on the picture. Today, we are all asking questions based on the picture so that the child visually gets a cue and starts analyzing. Now, in this question also, depending upon number of parts that has been shared here, otherwise shaded here, it very well points to the students to identify and recall how fractions represent parts of a whole. The whole is the circle that is given there, and the parts are looked into, and the child should be able to identify. So here there are two things that they need to do. One thing is they have to identify. Second one is they have to recall what they have learned in the classroom. That means the teacher here should have done similar examples in the classroom where she has shown shaded figures and asked them to find what part of this becomes a fraction. Very simple recall is what is required here. And this question also, the first level, that is remember, is what it is aligned to.
Okay. Shall we move on to the next level?
Yeah, I think the second level we can go ahead with.
Okay. Here, the first question here is, which of these plants has a weak stem? Neem, banyan, bean, and hibiscus.
Sister, you can also ask the second question together and
Yeah.
I'll answer for both.
Yeah, then the second question, choose the article or articles to complete the sentence. Dash children went to see dash film yesterday afternoon. So option A is A, the, B is the A, then C is the, and D is no article required and the.
Okay. So both the questions are again very simple, but here it moves to one step ahead. They have to recall and they have to understand. This is because, let's take the example of the first question. It requires classification here. The students must be able to differentiate between plants and strong and weak stems. The second is concept application. This involves understanding where the plants characteristic rather than just recalling the names have to be done. That means beans and banyan tree and all those names they have to recall. But they have to recall also the characteristic, understand the characteristic. This is a woody stem, this is a weak stem. All those things have to come into picture. So this becomes a little advanced than that of just recall. It demands a little bit of reasoning here. The students must grasp why a bean plant has a weak stem, while others like neem, banyan, hibiscus have strong stems. That logic needs to be there. Hence, this comes to understanding. It's not only recall, it requires a little bit of reasoning, application of what they have recalled. Hence, it comes to a understand level wherein they understand why the stems are called weak, why the stems are called strong. So just a little bit of extension of remember, this becomes understanding. Same thing happens in the second one only. See, recall the articles A and all the children will know. But where to use what? Behind the vowels, what do you use? So recall has led into a specialized reasoning which the child is doing. Hence, it comes to understand level. It is aligned to understand. Is it clear, sister?
Yes, yes, sister.
Yeah.
So shall we move on to the next one? Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah. The next one can be taken.
Okay, so here the first question is a small grease fire occurs in your kitchen. Which type of fire extinguisher should you use? Water based, carbon dioxide based, foam based, or dry chemical powder?
Okay, the second question, sister. Sana started walking to school at 7:45 in the morning. Which of the following shows the time Sana reached school? 7:15 p.m., 7:45 a.m., 8:15 p.m., 8:45 a.m.
Okay. So both the questions here in application comes to the third level. You just see here, students should be able to analyze. Students should be able to get the information from remember and understand, and then they should be able to apply here. So application requires a lot of reasoning. So, what is the kind of fire that has come into my kitchen? What exactly is the kind of grease that is there? And also, they need to actually start thinking about, how I use these. That means they already have the knowledge, they have an understanding, and they are actually coming to the next level of application where they say, my knowledge is being applied in what exactly this has to be done. The best example I can give you here is during 9/11, there was a kid of grade 3 in one of the rooms of Taj Hotel, wherein when it started becoming very smoky and there was fire, this child took all the towels, wet the towels, and put them under the doors of the rooms. This is an application. That means the child is actually looking at applying the knowledge that she has already learned, saying that if
Yes,
I do this, it will reduce the amount of smoke that can come in. So that is application. So here it actually comes to level 3, that is the application part.
yes. And also, in order to get to this level, the child has
Has to
already
have the other two, that is basic levels.
yeah,
Remembering has to be there. The teacher should have already taught it. They should understand and then only they can apply. Otherwise, it is not possible. The
I
doing
remember this incident, sister. I
uh,
think this child, though it was taught in the civics class, but she applied it. That is what she was telling. She applied it
In
in
the
this
interview, yeah, in the
situation,
interview, yeah,
and
yeah.
that's how. So she knew the application of the where it has to
Knowledge
be
that she
applied.
had actually got.
Hmm.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
In
So,
civics class, in the disaster management lesson or somewhere, she had learned this,
Yes,
and
yes.
that's how she applied it
In a real
practically.
sense. Yeah, yeah. I think this is where we have to bring the children to, sister. Then that's what NEP envisions. So when we have to be very clear of what kind of questions we are asking, we never say that remember and understand at lower level in literary sense. They're absolutely necessary for coming to the next level of application. Without remembering and understanding, they can't apply at all.
that is true. Okay. So I think this level is now clear. Shall we move to the next level?
Yes, sister.
There is one question here. Shobha sister, would you like to read it?
Yes. Look at the given picture and answer the question given below. What is Stacy doing? She is trying to test the rope. She is trying to fix a support for climbing. She is trying to find the height of the peak. She is climbing a mountain.
Beautiful question. Basically, you're making the child think. This analyze is nothing but making the child critically think and compare the situations that she is in. It could be the visual cue that is given there, the position or the posture of the person who is climbing. It could be the work they are doing in the picture. This child has to think. So this analyze is breaking down the visual or textual information into actions, techniques, and the context. All the three has to be taken into account by the student here. So you're looking at the interpretation of information. What exactly is given there? Am I interpreting it in the right sense? I'm comparing all the four actions here. So I need to differentiate between the four options that is there. Am I fixing? Am I climbing? Am I looking at the strength of this particular row? So the student is actually comparing all the options that are given there and finally recognizing the relationship. So the person who is climbing is in this position. She is holding the rope in this angle. That's the reason she is climbing. Look at such a beautiful question where the child is analyzing all the options that are given here. So, breaking down the question into observations, evaluating the context in which the question is asked, and selecting the best answer based on her own reasoning is required for the child to come to the answer. So, this is one of the best questions. Again, I want to say here that if I am asking such a question, the classroom teaching materials that I have prepared should have taught them how to analyze this particular question. I'm not saying the same question has to be repeated. The question has to be in such a way that the child has already understood how to analyze. So, the whole teaching learning process that you are actually planning for your 40-minute period should have at least a few examples to make the child think in this particular situation before answering the question.
So basically, this child will do the elimination process
Yes,
in the options given.
it
If
could
it
be
is
elimination, it could be comparison. Both are possible.
And interpreting a visual cue.
Ah,
This is not something that you can do by just doing revision, no, sister?
that is not possible, sister. See, that's why I said these questions are not text based. This picture could have been taken as Shobha sister said in the last question answer. That might be from disaster management and she is applying it to the real life. So this could be, from some English lesson that the child has learned, or some strategies that physical education teacher has actually taught them from anywhere for that matter. So you can't revise. You just
Yeah.
can't teach them from the textbook or the content given in the syllabus. This is just an application which you feel that could be out of syllabus. In fact,
Yes.
these are the
So,
kind of questions. Yeah.
so as a teacher, sister, I think I should use the chapters that I have as examples for them to learn how to analyze. Am I right?
Absolutely. And I would say one of the examples, you have to bring in more examples.
Mm,
Your text content could be one of the examples to
mm.
prepare them for such questions.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sister. I think we got more clarity. We will move on to the next question.
Yes.
So this is a mathematics question. The area of a rectangle is x square minus xy minus 6y square
Ah,
units.
yes.
If its length is x plus 2y units,
Mm,
find the breadth. And then four options are given.
mm,
There is another example, a
mm,
math lab activity
mm.
alignment where uh, students are taken to the sports field and they are asked to measure the sports field.
Okay. Okay. So, which level does this particular question align to? That's what we are looking. This question aligns to evaluate. Basically, the child is evaluating because this question requires validation of a mathematical process. The child should be able to analyze, factorize, and check whether the given area correctly divides into given length. So there is a lot of validation and mathematical process which is involved here. That's point one. Second, it involves judgment and verification here. It demands the child to assess different factorization approaches that he can use. The third one is the real world connection that you are thinking about. Engaging students in measuring the actual areas of sport field, they are actually using their evaluation skills in practical and real life scenarios. Again, the same example. The child was able to understand that if you dip a towel in water and then put it below the windows and doors, lot of smoke particles are going to be taken away by the towel and the air that is coming in will be fresh. Exactly same way here, the child is deciding, evaluating and deciding and verifying whatever he has learnt is correct or not by actually measuring the sport field. So this can be done in groups and as per pedagogy, this becomes a sport integrated pedagogy. So this question aligns itself to evaluate. A lot of judgment and verification is involved here.
And it goes without saying that they have to recall what they have learned, they should have understood in the class, they should be able to apply it in various real life situations. They
Absolutely.
They need to analyze and break down larger problems into its parts. And
And
also
then to
now at evaluate level, they have to check those parts against certain other criteria to check, to judge and
Absolutely, sister. So it's
identify
a
the correct.
higher order thinking skill where they have to evaluate. You have been given option of buying, I know, iPad and then a Samsung pad and something else, and then say evaluate all the three, and then you take a call. That's the kind of a thing where you have to find out, break down all the information into chunks, and then go for level one, two, three, four. Remember, understand, apply, and then analyze, and then come to evaluate, saying that yes, this is the best thing, and I will go with this. So a lot of real world life skills will be there in this
Right.
question. Definitely nice to evaluate.
Yes, if we have a lot of activities in the classroom
Hmm.
that takes the child to this evaluate level, I think, as you said, many life skills also will get built in, will get integrated. They will
Even
have the patience to stick and solve problems. They will learn to work together, collaboration. They will learn to, um, uh, you know, go step by step. That is another life skill, right? In problem solving, you cannot jump to
absolutely.
solutions here and there. You need to,
Tomorrow, even when they are choosing their own subjects and careers when they come to 11th and 12th,
right,
we are talking about school education, they'll be able to evaluate. Do I
right.
want to do this? Do I want to do this? That means they need to have all the information.
Mm,
They need to know the process of remembering and recalling what it is. I want to become an army officer. I want to become a police.
mm,
What is that I want to choose?
mm,
Then I need to understand that the requirements are going to be this. Then
mm,
I want to apply it in real world situation that am I actually running? Do I have the physical strength?
Mm.
And then you are coming to
Not
the
to
next.
have any limitations.
Yeah, do they have any limitations? Do I fall under all the guidelines will be applicable to me or not? All
Mm.
that they will think. And
Mm.
then they will come to, after analyzing, they come to evaluation where they say, okay, let me see. I will evaluate all the prospects that army man gets and a policeman gets during work, after retirement, whatever it is. And finally, I'll take a decision.
Right. So this is a very important aspect of decision making too.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because I need to evaluate what do I want. Do I want a apartment? Do I want an independent house? Do I want a duplex house? So depending upon what are the pros and cons, benefits and advantages I have, I take a decision. That is evaluated.
Right. Okay.
So awareness is also
Very.
required to do
Now the
all this.
confusion comes here wherein, a teacher who is looking only at remember, there is facts that they have to remember. So this question definitely can be a remember question, but it is a higher order, very high order. It
Alone
doesn't,
is not enough for this
it's not
question.
enough. Only recall is not enough. Is
Right.
understand enough for this? Definitely that is not enough. Then you go to the third level and you are looking at apply. Is it enough? That is also not enough. Evaluate. You're looking at evaluate and then you're looking at analyze and then say is analyzing enough? No. I have analyzed. Samsung Tab has these qualities. I know iPad has these qualities. I have analyzed both of them, but I need to evaluate because I want to buy.
Mm.
So it is a fourth, very high level of HOTS it comes into. So
Mm.
all these steps are there, but the highest level is what teacher has to choose to align.
I
Sometimes
think,
this
yeah.
evaluation is taken as a misnomer for taking it as assessment. People feel that
We're all taking
evaluation means it is assessment, but no,
assessment.
there is.
Yeah. That is where the problem comes.
So I also think
Hmm.
sometimes in board exams, when there is an evaluate level question,
Hmm.
some children are able to solve part of the problem, then they get stuck. That is
Yes.
probably because they have learned how to think up to understand or apply level in that topic. Beyond that, they have not learned how to think in that using that concept, and that is why they get stuck.
You have hit the nail on the head, sister. To tell you very frankly, all of us as teachers don't move above apply. Apply itself is the greatest thing. Initially, we used to be only at remember and understand level. Then comes application level and how we apply. So that's where we stop. We don't go for higher order thinking skills, but unfortunately today we have to. So when we are creating the questions, at least for the higher level grade 6 to 10, we need to have 50% from all these areas. That is, you're looking at evaluate and create level, at least 30% of the questions in this, and 50% from middle and higher order thinking skills, because this is mandatory now.
Sister, you are talking about this from setting the question paper. I
No,
am saying even when we are teaching, we have to think that my child will have to attempt questions at evaluate level. Am
correct.
I preparing the child for that?
That's
Uh,
all. See, I'm not talking from the question paper point of view, sister.
right,
We are
right,
preparing them. See, when
yes,
we say questioning them or
right.
aligning the
From the
assessment with
classroom
the
questioning
learning outcome,
question.
yes.
Got it, got
First thing is when I'm setting the learning outcome itself, I am trying to align it with the assessment. And based on this only, I'll prepare my class content. So if I
it.
have
Right,
to give such a question, then how should I teach in the classroom?
yes.
So I have to give them instances of evaluation, examples of evaluation, make them evaluate. Then only they will learn how to do it. As you rightly said, many of our children in the examination also will not be able to do it because they have not done it in the class, sadly.
Right.
Because we follow the textbook and cover the textbook and say we are done with it. Sad but true.
Yes, very true. So I think now this is clear. We can move to the next level.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
Shobha sister?
Design a safety plan for handling fire emergencies in a school lab, which extinguishes Which extinguishers will you include and how will you ensure proper use?
Such a
Option A
great,
is
yes,
only carbon
yes,
dioxide extinguishers with posters explaining usage.
okay.
Option B is a combination of carbon dioxide, foam, and dry chemical extinguishers with training for staff and students. Option C is water extinguishers placed in all corners of the lab. Option D is a single multi-purpose extinguisher for all types of fires.
Beautiful question. And this is at the highest level. And unfortunately, as Chandra sister said, you ask them to go to create level, they'll, they'll say, make a model and bring it. And believe me, many a times that model is made by parents when
Parents.
child has to explain. It's
Hmm.
a competition between parents, and the child will not even be able to explain. Unfortunately, that has become create level. So
Yes.
when we are looking at the create level, look at this beautiful question. The child should have crossed all the steps of the Bloom's taxonomy to come to this cognitive level. Let us see why. One, this question to answer, the child should have been taught what are the requirements of designing a comprehensive fire safety plan. So there are very, very deliberate steps which need to go in. He has to synthesize the knowledge. He already has a knowledge of all parts. To make it whole, he has to synthesize the knowledge. Because if it is a chemistry lab, the kind of extinguishers that is required is different. If it is a biology lab, it might be different. So he has to look at what kind of lab he is planning it for. That's one. Okay. He has to have the knowledge of fire safety, different kinds of extinguishers, and training protocols. Very, very important to develop a new and structured holistic solution for his school lab. Look at that. So many competencies would be required. Second thing is he needs to have a budget. So the school has this kind of budget. In this, how many I'm going to take? It involves a lot of decision making and innovation here. If I have ample budget, I'll be thinking of something. If I have less budget, I'll be thinking something else. That also have to be um, thought before he makes this particular project. And also he should be actually formulating a well thought out plan. Just recalling writing something will not happen. So what's the area of my lab? How many doors are there? How many windows are there? Do I have a fan there? Exhaust fan is fit or not? Do I have water flowing through fire pipes? Do I have buckets in which sand is put? Which are the areas where exactly these have to be located? Do I have a eye wash or a shower in case a chemical spills immediately to use? Do I have an area where there is an eye wash and a shower? Look at that. So many things are required here. And it integrates multiple elements and a unique strategy. Okay, it combines knowledge about extinguishers and their types. It also looks like effectiveness of these. That also involves
Understanding
the
level.
files which are listed in that particular chart or whatever they are going to use, and
Mm.
also the awareness training that the school has conducted, maybe even evacuation drill that they have done in the school.
Mm.
These are combined and made into an actionable plan by the student, which is his own.
Mm.
It is
So
created
it's
by him
original.
because it is original.
Yes.
So this can be a group, project that can be given, or a single student can do. So look at all these steps. That's the reason it demands creativity, strategic thinking,
Mm.
formulation of an original safety plan, and that's the reason it has been put under create. So it's a very complex one where you're looking at everything of Bloom's taxonomy. Okay.
Yes.
We are looking at remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. And finally, whatever has been created is the original plan. It's not copied from anywhere, or it is not into bits and pieces at every level. It's a comprehensive plan which is prepared by the student.
Sister, I would like to bring to everybody's attention
Hmm,
that now that we have reached the create level,
hmm.
all the questions that we saw on the left side of these slides, there is something very significant about them. Would you like to share, sister?
Yes, yes. Now, all the questions have been taken from either shuffle practice papers given by CBSE board or shuffle papers themselves that has been conducted. Now, all these questions are not evaluating the individual student, and shuffle basically takes into account the total student's performance. So it's a report card given to the school saying that you have done well, you have not done well. Only 40% of your students are able to answer these questions. That means there is something wrong wherein you are not teaching these kind of questions to your students. So no individual record of the student will be given to the school. The school will be given rating and then say that this is the area where there is a gap and you need to definitely do it. SAFL is a mandatory exam. Today, it is mandatory only for CBSE schools, but CBSE has been given the mandate of conducting it for all the boards because this is the mandate of National Education Policy. So this is something like PISA examination, national survey that is conducted. So
Yes.
every school will have to take it in next coming years, maybe a couple of years more, it becomes mandatory. So remember, unless and until we train our students on these methods, they will not be able to take this exam. Yesterday there was a survey that has come. Again, the gaps are huge.
Yes.
The ACES survey results have come out in yesterday's newspaper. So
Yes.
unless and until we take SAFL seriously, look into different booklets available on Ministry of Education's website, NCRT website, CBSE website, and prepare our classroom teaching learning process to align with Bloom's. So Bloom's is a backbone. Unless we understand this, it is not possible. Then SAFL level cannot be reached.
Thank you, sister. I think you have given a very comprehensive picture of the Bloom's taxonomy, how questions can be asked at different levels of Bloom's taxonomy, and how teachers can prepare their students to answer those questions effectively. I think this has been a very wonderful, very deep learning session for us. Uh, we will take up further topics on Bloom's taxonomy in the next session. If there are any concluding remarks, sister, you can share with our teachers and we can conclude this session.
Yeah, basically, sister, there will be a confusion in the beginning because they're all learning together.
Yes,
Initial stages, definitely there will be a confusion between applying, analyzing, evaluating, creating will become very clear because when you evaluate, you are not only analyzing, you are going to the next level saying that, okay, depending upon this, I would like to take this. That means you are at a level where not only analyzing what is different specs of different products, you're actually evaluating, is it worth paying this price? So if I'm getting something at a lower price but has all the specs of the higher one, I would say I have evaluated both the products. I would go in for this because it is giving me benefit of money. So there will be a little bit of confusion between these levels. But remember, whichever is the highest level that you can think of, your question is aligned to that. Okay,
yes,
again, I'm saying, remember definitely will be there while creating because they have to remember what are the different kinds of, fire extinguishers that are present in that particular question. Okay, understand will also be there. Under what circumstances, what kind of things that I will use will be understanding. So all levels are going to be there. Whichever is the highest level, your question is aligned to that levels of cognitive Bloom's taxonomy that you remember. But if you have any doubts, feel free to,
reach
reach
out.
us and
Yeah.
and we'll be able to clear it up.
Yes, please
Thank
reach out to us through the academic coordinators.
you.
Please
Yes,
reach out to us through the state team or directly. If you know our email IDs, you can write to us directly. You can write to training at sssvv.org and we will uh, reach back with any uh, answer for your doubts. If we are able to clear them, we will definitely reach out to you. Shobha sister, do you have anything to add or shall we
I
close?
think we have covered everything. As the word shuffle itself says, is structured analyzing, and so there is a lot of analysis in the questions itself they have to do. So I think teachers would get the importance of all of how we have to do the teaching in the class, or the classroom transaction has to be done in the class.
Yes, keeping this level of learning in mind.
Yes.
Thank Yes, thank you all so much. I hope we have given teachers something really deep to think about today. Let us conclude this session with a promise that we will come back with more sessions on Bloom's taxonomy. Thank you everybody.
Thank you, sister. Sai Ram.